tie. Like that was the
School attire.
attire. So they took pride in their appearance in that way. But nothing says that those clothes costed, like now people are spending $400 for a pair of jeans with holes in it.
Kanye.
They go to American Eagle and they get the hats that look worn.
Mm-hmm.
I don't get that.
Well,
I agree, Nakia.
Well, honestly speaking, to touch on what Nakia said, the reason why I said the hip hop culture is because when you think about early tracks and early years, you never heard, Donny Hathaway saying, God bless the child that has a Gucci hat.
That would have been a great song. That would have been such a great. To be born young, gifted, and with a Gucci belt.
Right.
That would have been dope.
So,
shout out to Donny
the thing
Hathaway.
about it was, they talked about real life subjects.
Yeah.
So here comes hip hop.
Yeah.
Talking about, fresh butters with your Timberlands.
Mm-hmm.
The flyest chains, this, that, and the third. You thought that was the thing to do. And especially me being a hip hop junkie.
Yeah.
All I was hearing was names.
Yeah.
Brands.
Yeah.
Shoes.
But there was a time, there was literally a time when you just hear a song and the hook would just be a bunch of labels just being called out.
Air Force Ones. No.
Tom Ford.
Exactly.
Blacks spend more money on fashion than any other race, especially low-income blacks.
I
This is
do agree
absolutely true. And this is not something that's actually hard to figure out and quantify. Like the numbers are right there for us to see that African Americans as a people do spend a great deal of money on clothing and looking like they have something. And for better or for worse, I'm not here to knock nobody for how you spend your money. It's your money. You spend it how you want to. You do what you want to do with your money. But my thing is this. I'd rather that us as a people, I think when we give our children these things to attach value to who they are, we're sort of telling them that you need these things to be worth something. And without those things, you're not worth what you actually are. You're not the beautiful person that you are, that you should be. Like, what was the song? You're not never fully dressed without a smile. On Annie.
Oh yeah.
On the movie Annie. Like,
the thing was
like you're never fully dressed without a smile. Like, I think that those are the things that we should value. We should value our self-worth.
But
like if I got on a whole outfit that I got from Goodwill, which I've done, then I should, Like then I should feel just as good then as I do if I go and I spend $1,000 on a suit.
Right. But one thing that I will say about the name brands is it's the gift and the curse. You got to understand some of these names, but some inner city youth out of poverty. Look at the gentleman who created FUBU.
That's the list.
Huh?
That's the list of name brands that brought gentlemen out of the hood.
It's not just FUBU.
What else?
Okay, you got Carl Kanai.
Carl Kanai wasn't from the hood. Carl Kanai was not from the hood.
Then we'll just stick with FUBU.
I'm just saying. Carl Kanai wasn't from the hood. He just wasn't. You know what I'm saying? Like FUBU is the list. FUBU is the list. When we talk about any other
what about Rockaware?
Rockaware didn't bring them out of the hood. They were already out of the hood by the time Rockaware came out.
Okay, touche.
I'm just saying, like, if that's what we're saying, like, now by all means, I'm all about creating our own. If we're gonna create our own, then let's do it. And I think I was just on Quentin Washington's show, Quentin's close-ups tonight, and that's one thing he asked me. The question he asked me was, how do I feel about the state of the black community? And my answer was that I think that we're in a very interesting place. In a place that we haven't been in maybe since the civil rights era, because we're at a position where we're starting to create our own. We're starting to realize we cannot wait for other people to create these things for us, because believe it or not, people are trying to phase us out. I just had Cleo Brown on last week, who was talking about the cyclical nature of politics in America as it pertains to African American people. As soon as and what she says is, as soon as African Americans get to be, or Caucasians get to be close to not being a minority anymore, they move the goalpost. So now, first it was, Italians became white, because it wasn't Italians. When Italians first came here, they weren't white.
They were Italian.
They were Italian. Jewish people weren't Italian. Weren't Jewish. They weren't white. They were Jewish. Irish people, right? Now, Hispanics are going to be next. The lighter tone Hispanics are going to be like. So we have to figure out a way to start getting our own stuff. Now, when I say get our own stuff, I don't mean like, I know a lot of people talking like moving back to Africa and stuff like that. No, that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about installing ourselves into the process. Installing ourselves into the process. And not just one phase of the process. Every single phase of the process. Every single phase of the process. From politics to banking to education to everything. We have to infiltrate all forms. And that's something that I see us doing. We need to do it on a larger scale, but it's something that has to happen. We have to get away from the idea of we need to create our own entertainment companies and that's how it's going to happen.
That's true. You can hear a pin drop right now.
I'm just saying, like, that's where my heart is, man. Like, that's where my heart is. Like, I'm tired of waiting on the same avenues. I'm tired of waiting on a ball player to make enough money to give back to the hood. Like, I'm tired of that. Let's do it. If we're gonna do it, let's do it. Let's nation build. Let's go father to father. Let's build our distinguished gentlemen.
You gotta look how but you gotta look at any time that we start to get something, it gets shut down. Like, look at when we were gonna do a Black Wall Street. Back in the 50s.
So Black Wall Street would never happen today.
Oh, of course.
I'm not talking about. I'm talking about what happened to Black Wall Street would never happen today, because of the internet. In the words of Childish Gambino, because of the internet, that would never happen again. Now, did it happen back then? Yes, and it was terrible because we were actually, like, African Americans were in a position where we were starting to have those things starting to happen, where we were able to build communities for African Americans. Do I want to see all African American communities? No. What I want is the African Americans who are able to make these things happen, to step into these positions, to say, I'm going to step in. If I'm going to open a store, then I'm going to open a store, and I'm going to find a way to make sure that I'm that I'm not only lifting myself and my family, but my culture, my people, and that's all people, but definitely African Americans.
Sometimes African Americans' biggest enemies or adversaries are themselves.
Absolutely.
It goes like this. Let's just say we both open a store.
Right.
Right? You have a clothing store on North Main in Somerville. I have a clothing store on Rivers Avenue.
All right.
People are just like, yo, you know, Rajon got a store over there. Man, bump Rajon, man. I rock with Daniel, so and so. Why can't you rock with us both? I have yet to see somebody, you know, do the whole Perry Ellis, Tommy Hilfiger thing, you know, play them against each other, because it never happens.
Well, we make ourselves easy target for that stuff. More than a talented 10th. I agree totally. Thank you for that, Nakia. So, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right that we are the only people that are allowed to play, we are playing against one another. And I will say this, and I want to say this again, because I want to shout out to Quentin on camera, Mr. Quentin's close-ups himself, Quentin Washington, and he has a show where he does interviews on social media. I have a show where I do interviews on social media, but I don't consider him as competition. And that's not a disrespectful thing. That's because I see us both as moving in the same direction, trying to uplift the culture from our own different angles. And everybody has to play their position.
Look how many times you plugged them on your show. Not everybody's like us.
Nah, but that's the thing. But that's the thing. We have to get out of that. And I'll spread it out. Mentorship, right? Mm-hmm. I'll be the first person to tell you that I love Boys with a Purpose. Shout out to Raymond Nelson III. I love the I Am Mentoring program. Shout out to Troy McClain. I love the Builder Brother program. Shout out to Justin Hunt. I love all my sisters that are doing great programs. I love Be a Mentor. I love Boys and Girls Club. I love all of them because they're all geared toward the same thing. Like, I'm not fighting them for money. I'm not fighting them for grant money. I'm not fighting them for speaking positions. I'm not fighting them for opportunities. Troy McClain, if Troy finds out about an event, Troy messages me and says, hey, Rajon, you heard about this event? That's what we got to have in our community. That's what we have to have across the board.
But it doesn't happen.
It doesn't, but it needs to. That's the thing. Like, I'm tired of saying it's not happening and be like, okay, cool, it's not happening, so
it goes like this. One weekend, one of my events were canceled. What's the first thing I did?
You called me?
I called you and said, hey, what do you got going on in the community?
Yep.
Granted, it was with DGC, the demographic that we don't touch.
Right.
I said, you know what? Let me just go out there and just spread what we do. Because even if I have one ear listen to what I have to say, that's one ear I didn't have yesterday.
Yep.
And, you know, But the funny thing about it is we have that mentality.
Yeah.
How can we implement that throughout the community? It's a question with no answer.
The thing is, we got to come together. We have to come together, and I think events like the Men United is a great way to start that conversation. That's why I wanted to do it. Let me see. Tell me when was the last time you seen an Asian in a bank with you or borrowing money? Their community helps each other be successful. Great point, Nakia. Great point, and I think that's something that definitely should be discussed. As far as why aren't we doing those things? Like how collective. That's good. That's really good, Nakia. You on to something. Thank you so much for sharing that. And Nakia is a very constant watcher of Real Talk with John. So shout out to Nakia.
I appreciate you.
Boom, 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 boom.
But we're always in direct competition with something or somebody.
Because that's programming. That's programming. Quintessentially, that is programming. We are programmed for me to see you as an enemy. If I'm in an organization, if you're not in my organization, get out and lay down. Remember state property?
Yeah, get down and lay down.
Get out and lay down. You come and roll with us, or are you gonna
You're gonna go elsewhere.
Yeah, go elsewhere. Not you doing what you doing, I'm doing what I'm doing. Let's work together to make sure that both of us are getting more. No. And that's why I love my homeboys Sam Bellamy and Ricardo Perry. Shout out to them, man. Because the one thing that we try to do in our organization is reach out to the other organizations and bring them into the tent any way that we can. And I'm really excited about some things that I'm going to be able to announce in the coming weeks, but I can't yet. But just know, another opportunity of what you speaking, just like they're talking about, the Back to School Bash. The Back to School Bash is like 7 different organizations that come together to put together this event for Somerville. Shout out to Justin Hunt. Justin Hunt of the Older Brother was having the event. He actually started the event on his own. His organization was doing it on his own. He reached out to me and asked me to come out and speak. My first year doing DGC. Hey man, I heard about you. I want you to come out and speak. I went out there to support him. He said, next year I want to do this. I want to do it bigger. I want your organization to come on. He reached out to me. Somebody called me and said, hey, I heard you guys are putting on
Back to School Bash.
And at Back to School Bash, Amy Tabak and Robin Dudley from the North Area Somerville Jewish Community Center reaches out to us saying that we want to get involved. Before we know it, the Community Resource Center from Somerville gets involved. 5 different organizations that came together and served 1,200 families last year. Because we worked together.
So what can we do to get father to father involved?
Father to father just got to give me the word, man. Tell me when to go. You know me, man. You know what I do.
Mr. Stroll will call you tomorrow.
Please do.
Or
because
send you a message.
this is something that needs, this is how we're going to do it. This is how we move forward. This is how we as a people, and when I say we as a people, I mean all people. When I talk about race, I'm talking about the human race, because all of us are invested in what happens here on this earth and in this country. If we don't realize that we are more tied together than than anybody would ever, we have to have a soul tied to one another. What happens to your children affects my children.
Right.
But you know why? Because I may have everything going on perfect in my house, right? Perfect in my house, because nobody's perfect. If somebody tells you they're perfect, they're lying to you. I have everything perfect in my house. My son may be a doctor who works on patients, and my daughters may all be lawyers and all those kind of great things. But if your son is struggling and your son ends up on the corner, your son ends up robbing somebody, guess who he might rob one day? My kids.
You and your children.
So what am I going to say then? Oh, he should have had better parenting. No, the community should have came together for him.
Exactly.
It takes a village.
Just like father to father.
Just like father to father. Yo, this is just like one walking, talking, breathing commercial.
You know what I'm just doing? Shameless.
I'm just saying, do y'all want to know anything about father to father before we move on? Is there anything we didn't cover on father to father that you guys need information on?
I got about 10 more plugs here. So.
This is my dude, so I'm letting him do it. For those, let me reset. For those who don't know, this is Real Talk with Rajon. I am the host, Rajon Lewis. This is my mans and them, Digger Jones, a.k.a. Daniel Laurie. And if this is your first time watching the show, man, we do things a little bit differently here, man. I don't code switch. I speak very intelligently, but I'm a boy from North Charleston High School. I'm a man from North Charleston High School. All right? I graduated North Charleston High School, go Cougars. And I speak how I speak, and I say what I say, and I mean what I mean when I say it.
You know what? I'm going to pull something up for you.
You got to pull something up for me. I don't know you got to pull up. But
No,
it might be another plug for
no,
Father to Father.
It's not a plug for Father to Father. I gotta look for it first. But.
So we do have. So those while you're watching, I'm streaming in 2 places right now. I'm streaming on Real Talk with Rajon, my Facebook page, but I'm also streaming right here on my Mevo on my Facebook Live is on my not Facebook Live. I apologize. On my
iPhone.
YouTube Live as well. So I have YouTube Live going. I have Facebook Live going, and and Quentin Washington just posted the interview of me and him. So that's what's up.
So just to prove that he's from North Charleston, I'm about to play 3 seconds or something, and you're gonna know what it is. Let me know when you're ready for it.
Go.
Oh, I can't. Oh, it won't get louder than that.
What is it?
Hold on.
I'm trying to.
You know what? I'm glad it won't get louder than that because you do have a clean show.
Okay. What is it?
So hold on.
Just
Let's play it in your ear.
Yeah, man. So yeah, I'm glad you didn't play that live.
Right?
Like, I got a reputation of home, man. These people out here respecting me, son.
So he's a kid from North Charleston.
People out here respecting me.
I got the
proof. Yo, this guy. So, all right. So, J. Cole, go.
Man, what do I think about his album or
Go.
just J. Cole in general?
J. Cole's album, go.
My goodness, he has so far the best release of 2018. And probably the best release no, I can't put it against Kendrick.
And they can't put it against Kendrick.
But the best release of 2018 so far. And honestly speaking, like I said, when I first heard the first 3 songs, I'm like, I don't understand what he's doing because he sounded like everybody else.
Right.
But if you haven't heard the CD, you have to listen to the whole thing for the CD to make sense.
Mm-hmm.
That's all I gotta say. But other than that, honestly, if the Source was still doing mic ratings, if that didn't get 5 mics, I don't know what would.
I definitely think it's a great album. It's a great album that I've enjoyed listening to. To be honest with you, I've not listened to it since the day I stopped listening to it, like the day after it came out. But I did get in my car and I was like, I think I'll listen to that again. Like, remember I told you the first time, if I never hear this again, I think I'll be okay.
Right.
But that's how I get my J. Cole's music though. Like when I'm listening to it, I'm into it, but I'm never just driving down the street and like, you know what I want to hear? J. Cole.
This is what I read, and it made me laugh when I read it. It says, J. Cole makes music for college graduates who are doing well in their life right now.
I'm a college graduate who's doing well in my life. But still.
Okay. Well, that's just what the meme said.
He's cool. He's cool. He's a great artist. He's a great rapper.
He doesn't have replay value.
He doesn't have replay value.
2014 Forest Hills Drive. Great CD, but you notice
I haven't listened
his
to that
first
album.
2 CDs, good. Forest Hills Drive is the top of the mountain.
Yeah.
And he goes this way.
Yeah.
I'm not saying KOD's the bottom of the bottom.
No, I think KOD is his 3rd best album.
I could agree with that.
It's his 3rd best album because his best album
I would say it would be 2014 Forest Hills Drive, then Born Sinner.
What? You think Born Sinner is his 2nd best album?
Yes. And then KOD. You didn't like Born Sinner because they were cursing over the gospel.
I think For Your Eyes Only is better than Born Sinner and KOD.
For Your Eyes Only was a good CD. I would consider that his 4th.
I give him 2 great CDs. 2014, Forest Hills Drive, and I give him For Your Eyes Only. I think that the KOD album is a good album. I think Born Sinner is a good album, and I think his first album was borderline garbage.
Well, his first album, you could tell that was under Jay's direction.
It wasn't him.
It was under Jay's
You can tell
direction.
when somebody's not being themselves.
It was under Jay's direction.
Yeah. Like you can tell when somebody's not being themselves, and that to me is, man.
But For Your Eyes Only, you would put it number 2.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Like I would say that's his 4th.
My favorite. You know my favorite song is on Born Sinner. Is it even Born Sinner?
Which one?
Hello.
That's
Hello.
2014 Forest Hills Drive.
That's my. If I had to listen to if I could only listen to one J. Cole song, it's Hello.
Mine would be Illuminati from the first track on Born Sinner.
Illuminati is good. Illuminati is good. But it's Hello. It's sort of like my favorite Lil Wayne song is Out of Love. Did you know that?
No, I did not.
My favorite Lil Wayne song is Out of Love. It's a really good song.
You know what my favorite Lil Wayne song is? It's a song called Lights Off of his first album.
Okay. Yeah, I can see that.
But other than that, Lil Wayne was just one of those artists that was just like.
I mean, Wayne was hot. Wayne was that dude
From 2005 to 2009, I know.
Okay. He was that dude. He owned the industry for like 4 years.
I know.
Everything he put out was dope.
I can't say that.
What did he put out?
But you know what? You can.
What did he put out that was not dope between 2005 and 2009? You know when I gave up on him. Carter 4, I was done. I was out. I walked out of the church.
But a lot of people walked out before the Carter 4.
I walked out of the church and I told him, don't invite me back no more.
But
on the Carter 4.
You know the bad part about the Carter 4 was the 2 best songs on the album
were interludes.
He wasn't even featured on. One had
then they were Andre 3000, Tech Nine,
and the other one had Nas, Bun B,
yep,
Busta Rhymes, and Shine.
Yep.
But you asked what did he put out that was done between 2005 and 2000?
From the time he dropped the Carter 2.
Okay.
From the time he dropped the Carter 2.
Let's just go with the Carter.
Everything was fire until Carter 4.
Let's go with the Carter. Let's just start with the Carter.
Okay.
Because
the Carter was cool.
Good. The Carter was good.
Carter wasn't Carter 2 though. Carter 2 was that heat. Carter 2 was when it blew up. Carter was dope.
The Carter 2.
Which one had Go DJ on it?
Carter 2.
Yep.
Carter 1 had Go DJ.
That was 2004.
Was it 2004?
Yeah.
I gave him 2004.
I remember when it came on. 2004. I was stationed in Camp Asalia, Qatar. And that was the song they would play with my homeboy Swag, who was from Baton Rouge, to come in. Say, go DJ. His name was literally Daryl Jackson.
Okay,
so he was like, that's my DJ. His name was DJ.
But so we'll give him to 2004 to 2009.
Okay.
We'll give him that.
Yeah. But he owned it though.
No, but you gotta say he really didn't.
He performed like 80,000 times on the beat.
You can't give him own completely because you had artists like T.I. come out, you had Jeezy come out.
But T.I. didn't have that sustained greatness that Wayne had during that time.
No, T.I. had a flicker.
He had a flicker. He wasn't what Wayne was though.
No.
None of them was what Wayne was.
I'm trying to dispute this, but I'm boxing a corner. Because you gotta understand, the Black Album was released in 2003.
Nukes, if you want to sponsor me, I got your cup. You got one too.
Oh yeah. Let me just go ahead and do my shameless self promotion.
Nukes, if you looking to sponsor somebody, Real Talk Rajon is looking for sponsors.
Right. All fathers always look for sponsors.
Father. Oh Jesus! This program is brought to you by Father to Father in the letter Q.
I got 8 left, but
Wayne.
Jay retired in 2003.
When Jay retired and came back, Jay didn't own the game the way Jay owned it, but Jay owned it in a different way.
Well, here's the thing, though: the game came out in that time too.
The game don't have it like Wayne had it. Nobody had it like Wayne had it.
You know, I'm not trying to give this to Wayne, right? I'm just.
What was the song on the Blueprint 3? Every Day a Star is Born.
Yeah.
Like Jay even gave it to Wayne. Even Jay gave it to Wayne. I seen Mace do it.
That's true.
Like he was talking. That's what he was talking about. Is the fact that like every day a star is born, but it takes a special one to get that longevity over time. And Wayne had it. In fact, people still waiting on the Carter 6.
I thought it was 5.
Whichever Carter. I gave up after 4. The 4th one, I was out. I told you I closed the door at church. I think it's 6 though. I think Carter 5 came out.
No, Carter 5 hasn't came out yet.
So the last one they put out was the trash one?
Yeah. And then he had released
the Rock
I'm
album.
Not a Human Being and I'm Not a Human Being Part 2.
Because we needed a second one